Welcome back into my kitchen. I'm Holly Morrison of the Goshen team. I just came in from looking after my chickens. Yes, there are other people that I feed in this house. Well, they're not in the house, they're actually in the backyard. But I have 9 lovely chickie poos. That's what my girls and I call them, and all 3 of us take care of them together. But today, as you came into my kitchen, I'm going to teach you how to ferment chicken food. So we're just going to jump right in. I'm going to grab an empty container from over here. I recycle everything, including scraps that came from juicing. So this is actually how to keep your chickens healthy, but also to decrease your food waste. Not food waste, decrease your food waste. Take your food waste and turn it into chicken food and cut down on having to buy your chickens grains. Now, I know this is a little chunky here. I'm moving these things around, but these are just containers that I juiced veggies, and these are all the leftovers. So hopefully this is gonna make sense as I got it. Okay, so I've got it all open, almost all the way open. Sorry, it's a little bit bulky, but there we go. All right, we're there. So what we're gonna do is, now you can actually do this with their chicken food. I don't, because I don't like fermenting chicken food. I don't, but I like taking stuff that would normally be people food that would either get thrown away or cost me hardly anything. I like using it that way because then it's just right in my kitchen. As soon as I have waste that I want to ferment, I just pull in my oats and pull in my chia seeds and some kefir whey, and the magic happens. So that's what we're about to do in these 2 containers, but I'm going to show you 2 different ways. If you are not somebody who has started juicing and you don't have pulp from your juice that you don't want to waste and you want to turn it into chicken food, then you can just use what you're typically composting or throwing away, even just scraps from your kitchen. I'm going to show you those right here. This is a typical compost bucket for us in less than 24 hours. Apple core, some salad greens that are just past their happy place, some cucumber ends, some organic bread scraps, which, you know, you don't have to throw it away. I mean, you could use it for breadcrumbs. And then that's actually some cilantro stems that were just kind of mucky, because actually I'll cook cilantro stems. So we're going to actually put that into this container, but we're not going to do that first. First, what we're going to do is I'm going to grab these from over here, and I always try to keep things that I use regularly. I try to keep them handy. So this is my little organizational system, and we've got apple cider vinegar, which is a supplement for chickens. We've got organic garlic that I buy in bulk, so I just stick it in here. And then we've got organic oats. And actually I buy it in bulk, but I just put them in here so I kind of get my measure on. So I know that this is going to make 3 batches. And actually I'm going to do it as 2 today just to keep it simple. But this will make me 3 batches of fermented chicken food. So what we're going to do first is we're going to put in, these are just organic old-fashioned oats. That's about a half can. And that's the other half. Then we are going to put in some chia seeds. And I'm only going to put in about a 1/4 cup per container. So a 1/2 cup total. Sprinkling those babies in, and if you've been around long with Goshen, you'll see I love oats and I love chia seeds, and I like to ferment them. They're super easy to ferment just because the friendly bacteria love them. Let me get that out of our way. All right, and then we are going to grab, and this is the time where I will not use clean water, even though I would love to give my chickens, we're going to use warm. I would love to use clean water for my chickens and my animals too, but I put everything through the Berkey, and those filters are not cheap, and they do last a long time, but it's just not practical to do that. So I just use warm tap water, and that's actually almost there. Yeah, it's pretty warm. You don't want it hot because we're going to culture this with kefir whey. So we just got warm water. We're pouring that in. I'm going to put 1 quart in this one, 1 quart in this one. So I started with a 1/2 gallon for both of these containers. So if it needs a little more water, we just add a little more water. Okay, now chia seeds, we all know, are thirsty. So you want to give them a good little shimmy so they don't clump, because clumped chia seeds can make you sick. They can also make your chicken sick, but this is not going to make our chicken sick. This is going to make them happy. So these are going to they're very thirsty. The oats are, the chia seeds are. And this is going to get almost stiff by the time we're done. So we'll probably top it off with a little bit more water. We're almost there, nothing clumped, yay. All right, there's that. Okay, now we're going to put about a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. And that actually would start a culture for you because there is a mother in it. That's that little cloud at the bottom. That's actually friendly bacteria down there. And yeast, it's always both, they're friends. Okay, get that out of our way. And then of course, the beloved garlic. And I'm putting a good sprinkle in, which is about a teaspoon. Now some people say they think that garlic actually makes the eggs taste funny. I think that they might have put in too much garlic. My eggs never taste like garlic. So I think that might be somebody just doing overkill. But all of these have a purpose. You can search them out. I mean, but they're immune boosting. They prevent disease. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. My grandfather, Papa Woodrow Everett, he would talk about that all the time. All right, so this is there. So now we're gonna do one where I'm gonna take waste from my kitchen and I juice every couple of weeks. So these are actually, so it's almost gonna be like a beet cavus. Have you ever heard of that? Now I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but these are actually just beet stems from my juicing day. And spread them out. They'll actually start breaking down. It'll change the color of our food. And then this is actually just pulp from our juicing day. And if you can imagine all that color, what in the world? That smells heavenly. It smells like turmeric and ginger and carrots and beets. So if you want to know what produced that, slip on over to our video and watch how we juice and teach you how to juice. So we're putting all that in. My chickens are gonna like, this is like crack for them. And I've never had crack, but when you watch chickens that are happy, they're hysterical. So we're just gonna work that all down in there. And I can tell already we're gonna need a little more water. We get the warm going. Now we haven't put our culture in yet. You could count the apple cider vinegar as a culture, but it's definitely not enough. And you got to make sure with my chickens, my girls, your girls might be different, to get those little white specks to the top, because this is what they're going to dive after. Everything else is just boosting their immune system, making those eggs that you're going to eat supersonic healthy. All right, so that is all in there. We're about to add, got that too hot. When it's got steam, it's too hot. And then this, another video. This is our video is how to make milk kefir, and then this is the next phase where you're making kefir yogurt. Yeah, that's fine. All right, so this is yogurt that my girls wore out this morning. They just come in, scoop it right out of the bowl. They make their own flavors. That is definitely something I want to show y'all, because they come up with some killer recipes. They flavor it with orange zest, and I mean, these are not 20-year-old kids. They're like a 5-year-old will zest. Okay, so what's underneath here is gold. That is pure, unadulterated gold. This is a 1/4 cup scoop, and I'm going to, let's get a little more water in here first. Make it a little more happy, because you don't want it muck. Definitely not muck, because it won't absorb all that, and then you're gonna have sloshy food. You don't. You want it kind of stiff, like oats, like you would do your own oats. All right, there we go. Now they're not gonna like peck at those beets and eat those, but they'll start decomposing and they'll start fermenting and they'll soften up, and then they will eat them. And then whatever's left, I'll just dump on the ground. They'll scratch it, it'll keep breaking down, and they'll just wear it out. So I'm going to put, and I've got plenty of kefir whey, so I'm putting in more than is necessary. I'm gonna put in a 1/2 cup is necessary to culture this much, but I'm actually gonna put in more, because even though I use my kefir whey to ferment things, I don't use that much. And I'm gonna go ahead and put my kefir whey in here. This is the one I'm teaching you how to do from your kitchen scraps, if you are not a juicer yet. All right, now this is all gonna go back in my fridge. I just put it on a plate here so my colander doesn't get contaminated, because I am a nurse and I like things clean, and I only want to ferment the cooties that I want. All right, so this is all now cultured. So this one we are not going to put in. These, what I do is on my juicing day, I just bag them up. And that's enough to use these recycled containers here. They'll all go in my freezer and I'll just defrost them and I'll use them when it's time. And this is enough food for my 9 girls to eat on for 2 days. Now they still have their other food. I'll have to tell you about that. But their other food is now the bottom of their list. This is what they want right here. And when I give them this, I get almost 100% egg production. And when I withhold this, yes, I do experiment on everybody in my house, chickens, dogs, everybody. When I withhold this and I go back to just their grain that's organic and healthy, my egg production is like 50% or a little bit less off and on. I mean, they're just like sometimes feast or famine kind of thing. So this one is all the way done. Closing the container, and I'll show you where I'm gonna put that to let it ferment. This one is where I'm gonna put my veggie scraps in. And they're just going right in, nothing fancy, nothing you gotta do. I'll push the bread down so we don't grow mold. So everything needs to be just like with fermenting. You want everything below the water line. And obviously those beets aren't, but they'll be fine. So pushing all that down. And before I give this to my birds, I again will make sure that they can see those oats. When they see those oats, they go crazy. And you can grow oats. So I mean, it's really a preparedness thing to learn how to do this. Because, you know, we go to Tractor Supply and buy our expensive feed, and it is expensive. So when I started tinkering with this again, I did this years ago when I first started having chickens. But when I started tinkering with this again, and I've been doing this now for a little over a month, our feed bill has cut in exactly little less than half. Now they are gonna go into a really warm spot. Now this is not anything you need to worry about putting it in a dark place. It's only gonna ferment for a few days. You are gonna know when it's fermented because it'll bubble. It'll go, and it won't like bust anything. It's not gonna gush. It's all gonna be fine. This is the most low maintenance ferment you will ever make, but I'm just gonna stack them up. This is the one I'm gonna use first, and I'm just gonna take it over here to the corner. And I have a nice little spot that nobody kicks and it never gets bumped, but it's right by the vent where the heat turns on. And yes, it is winter for us, so the heat's turning on. But if it's not winter, and there we go. And then my girls know when I tell them it's ready, which will be in about 2 or 3 days, I'll be able to tell. It'll just be bubbling a little bit. And you can give it to them tomorrow. It's already gonna have fermented enough. But when it's properly fermented, they get the best of everything. They get their probiotics, which is like the best thing you could ever do for a chicken. And of course, if your gut is cultured, everything you're putting in your gut is being properly digested and you're absorbing it. So what we're doing to our bodies, we're doing to our chickens, which means that when we eat their eggs, we get all that lovely goodness in our body. All right, well, that is it. Now, I would love for you to please hit the subscribe button and definitely hit the share button. Share this on your social media places or anybody that you know is a chicken keeper or anybody that's thinking about chicken keeping, because this actually will make the whole process a whole lot easier because your chickens are going to be healthy, your egg production is going to be high. So this is a great way to care for your chickens, care for your body, and be a good steward of everything that the Lord has given us. He tells us in His Word to be mindful of our herd. So this is Holly's version of being mindful of my herd. Thank you for joining us, and God bless you.